A cold, calculating machine. So Sagittarius, I saw a machine when I felt the energy behind your cards, just like machine parts, not even a specific machine. And then I also saw an arm, like somebody going like this. And we've got the King of Swords on the board. So you might be dealing with somebody who's a cold, calculating machine, somebody who brute forces things. You know, they don't care about, well, really what gets in their way. They don't care about what's in their way. They're a machine, right? They'll bulldoze you if you stand in their way, or anything that stands in the way of their goal. Now, the King of Swords itself is very uncaring. And, you know, with the images, you're dealing with somebody who just doesn't care. Maybe they are just so hyper-focused on their goal, and, you know, anything else doesn't matter. I'm not sure what it is. Now, this could be you guys acting this way regarding something in your life too. We'll find out. Let's keep looking at the cards here and see what else we have. The Magician. The Magician is pretty much like, it's a goal. It's like, I'm gonna get this goal accomplished no matter what it takes, even if I have to do magic, right? Do the impossible. I'm gonna do it. Two of Wands. It's a decision. This person, maybe they always act this way. They always decide to take on any task like brute force. You know, we're gonna go 0 to 90 and we're gonna just punch it until it's done. On the bottom we have 8 of Wands. This person's super hasty. They just want to get it done fast, and they want to get it done now. Knight of Wands. And they're just hasty. They're impulsive. They don't care about what gets in their way. They're a brute. They that's the type of person you're dealing with. Let's pull oracle cards and see if we can find out a little bit more about the situation surrounding this person, why you're dealing with them, or maybe why you are them. Let's see what we get here for you Sagittariuses. Any other information? Anything else here about the machine? Cold calculating machine. The brute force method. Okay, Capricorn. So this could just be happening at work, at your job or your career, Capricorn. And there's somebody at your work who is like this, and you know, you probably just have to deal with them all the time. Aries. They might be an Aries, because Aries, I know I'm an Aries, tend to be like this. Aries are like, we're gonna get this done now. We don't care if we're just gonna bulldoze people, because we were excited, or because, you know, we're go-getters. Now, Gemini. That's the one card here I'm not sure about. Let's pull a couple more cards on Gemini here and see what could Gemini mean. Venus and Cancer. Venus and Cancer. Huh. Wow. I'm kind of getting that there are people who are bulldozed. This isn't like you're paving a street and nobody gets bulldozed. There are people who get bulldozed. This person actively bulldozes people. Cancer and Venus here, those are the people that get it in his way, get in their way. It doesn't have to be a he. These are the people that get in their way. Could even be family members that get in the way of what they're trying to do, and that's not gonna happen because like I said, because Aries, they're gonna, the headbutt, right? Aries is the ram. They're called the ram because they headbutt things, and it's all part of like the brute force strategy that this person has. Let's pull advice. Actually, let's do what's on the bottom first. Yeah, and then with the 2 and Saturn here, this person is just a hard ass too. It's like, we're gonna get the job done. We gotta get the job done. The sword is kind of like the information, so they always use just this one fact as the reason why they act like a cold calculating machine. So the sword, they wave the sword around, which is like, there's the deadline. You know, the deadline's the sword, or just the fact that we gotta get this done by 7. That's the sword. It's some kind of fact that gets thrown in people's face. That's part of the cold calculation and the bulldozing. It doesn't matter what's going on with the people, right? Maybe this is your boss, and they're like, I don't care if you're sick. I don't care if you ran into all these problems. Like, there's a deadline, right? That's the sword with the number 2 and Saturn, is just the fact that they're always a hard ass, and it comes down on other people, on you know, you, if you're working under them. Because they have a one-track mind, and that one-track mind is always on work, and because they're a cold calculating machine. Let's pull some advice and see if we can figure out how you can deal with this person, how maybe you can mellow out if you are this person. Let's see what we get here for advice. Any advice here for my Sagittarius? Okay, got one card so far, the Empress. The Empress is interesting because the Empress is about appearances. So the fact that you come off as a cold calculating machine, or this person does, it's probably not good for appearances. It's probably not good. Let's see what else there is. So think about morale if you're this person, right? Think about morale. Look at this. 10 of Swords. It kills morale. The fact that this person acts this way is a morale killer. It makes them look shitty, and it almost like, it just makes them look like an ass. It makes them, the fact that they are always have this one-track mind about work makes them look like a cold calculating machine. People see it, it makes them look bad. And the advice is, if you're this person, like, keep that in mind. Like, don't, keep in mind the PR aspect, the morale. This is all about morale. It kills morale when somebody is always like this. Now, if you're dealing with somebody like this, you already know, because you're just working under them, right? On the bottom, we have 3 of Pentacles, which is, it's collaboration. So work with these people that you're bulldozing instead of being like, but the deadline. So now we've got the sword coming back out again, but this time it's you who, the advice is for you to use the sword. So when your boss says, but the deadline, right? So he's wielding the sword. You come back as the Queen of Wands with the sword and you say, but these things happened. Or, but yada, yada, yada. Here's the reason why it's not going to be 8 of Cups here's the reason why it was out of my hands. Here's the reason why it was both out of my hands and it's not going to be done by the deadline. I mean, you do have to speak up for yourself against the person who's being a cold calculating machine. They're not going to stop. They don't care about morale. They will tank morale. So somebody's got to stand up to them. Somebody has to stand up to this person, and it might as well be you, and say, well, no, like, it was out of my hands. It was out of my control, and it won't be ready. It was out of my hands. It was out of my control. It won't be ready. And still, you're not being an asshole, because 3 of Pentacles, this is collaboration. You're just stating the facts. This is not fake. This is not untrue. These are literally the facts, but sometimes people don't speak up and they don't say the facts. Somebody has to speak up and say the facts, and the facts are, it really was outside of your control. The deadline is bullshit, you know, and that's bulldozing. So fuck getting bulldozed. You gotta pay attention to the little guy and listen to what actually happened. Or at least the machine does. The King of Swords does, or should. Let's see what we get out of the Oracle cards, and then we will close out your reading. Any last advice here for Sagittarius on how to not be a cold calculating machine, or on how to deal with a cold calculating machine? Okay, that card wants to come out. A heart. Okay, well that's a weird card. Kind of wishy-washy, a little bit corny with the heart, which, I mean, it is approach the situation with kind of like an open heart, or with kindness. Even if you are dealing with somebody who's a cold calculating machine, try not to flip out on them. You're just telling them the facts. That's part of the problem, is people just can't say the facts without making it like personal. Well, this should not be personal. If you let it build, it will become personal. And that's what happens down here. This is what happens if you let it build. Scorpio in the 7, that's building. That's resentment. That's building over time. Why? Because you acted like the princess. The princess doesn't speak up for herself. She doesn't stand up for herself. Princess doesn't know better, doesn't know how to say what's fair or what's not fair. Libra. So they're not going to do that. Instead, they're going to let resentment build. If you let resentment build, then there's going to be a problem. So the advice is, it's actually be clear with your emotions and how you feel, the heart, to this calculating machine. It's really all about communication. This is all about communicating how you feel, what happened, what your situation is, and not letting this person bulldoze you, because they seem to tend to bulldoze over people. So don't let this person bulldoze you. But also, just state the facts without having the resentment having built and then having it come out as, bleh, as word vomit. So just state the facts. Just state the facts. And maybe this person will start to realize how much, maybe you can even state the fact that it's demoralizing, maybe they'll start to take a hint on that level too. Okay, Sagittarius, that's your reading. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you want to see more readings, you can check out Patreon. Links for that should be below. I've got more cool stuff over there, so check that out. With that, I'll see you guys next time.